Hey!
Look at us.
Oh, we're so fancy.
I know. Big old chairs.
We've got a neck rest.
Hey, brother! And welcome everyone to a ranking video. The 20th anniversary of the Harry Potter movies is just around the corner, so we thought it would be fun to do something that surprisingly we've never done and rank all the Harry Potter movies.
This is gonna be really interesting because the way our relationship with the Harry Potter movies is very different from the Harry Potter books.
Yes.
So we use them as visual elements all the time in these videos. So you constantly see clips, like I feel like the scene where Voldemort is doing like the shampoo
moment.
the battle in the graveyard is when we go
King's
to
Cross, a lot
of so there's these moments in the movies that we go back to. There's these like individual depictions that are amazing. Like we've always said, McGonagall is great, Hagrid is great. Like they match their book counterparts extremely well. We never really dive into how we feel about each of these movies individually as a whole and then kind of compared to one another. So I'm very curious to see where you stand because as much as we talk about this, I have no idea where you stand.
Well, this is going to be very interesting. We are starting with Sorcerer's Stone and going all the way through Crimes of Grindelwald.
So this is going to be, this is the complete set. Everything we have right now. It's 10 movies total.
10 movies.
Here we go.
See what you make of them.
Guys, before we dive on into the ranking, we want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Secret Lab.
Secret Lab makes incredible top-of-the-line gaming chairs, and they're collaborating with Warner Brothers to release an official Secret Lab Titan Evo 2022 Harry Potter Edition chair to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first film.
And of course, we got some chairs.
If you want your own Secret Lab Harry Potter chair, the link is in the description down below. The chair back has a very detailed Marauders map stitching and 4-way adaptive lumbar support that can keep you comfortable even when you're up to no good.
That's what you call form and function.
And fun.
And frosty?
Well, not really, I don't know.
Well, it starts with F.
Frosty!
And you can get your very own Secret Lab memory foam lumbar pillow in your Hogwarts house of choice.
But why would you get anything besides Slytherin? That's the real, I don't know,
identity crisis, I guess.
I guess. What'd you get?
Also Slytherin.
Yes!
Oh, is mine upside down? No, it's good. Yeah. It's right side up.
And if you get your chair and pillow from the Secret Lab Harry Potter collection before December 20th, Super Carlin viewers can get an additional $25 off.
That's what you call a frosty deal.
Ben, stop trying to make Frosty happen, okay?
It's catching on. Guys, I have to tell you that I have had a standing desk for the past 3 years, and the moment that this chair arrived in the office, I have been seated.
You've been seated?
I have been seated.
It's been weird. Ben's like on eye level again with me. Our desks are right next to each other, and I'm always like, hey, what's up? But now I'm like, hey, what's up?
I know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment.
It is an adjustment.
How's your neck feel? I'm like...
Well, pretty good. I mean, the chairs are pretty adjustable themselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
They can do a lot of things. You can literally lay it all the way back.
All the way.
Again, you can get your own Secret Lab Harry Potter chair by heading on over to bit.ly/secretlabscb. Link is in the description down below.
Thanks again to Secret Lab for providing SCB with these awesome chairs and providing our viewers with these frosty deals.
Hey, you did it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks. It caught on.
So the way that we are going to be doing this, and if you would like to play along as well, we will leave a link in the description down below, but we have a Rankify website set up before us that is in the order of OWL scoring.
Yes, so we will start, the highest score you can get is an O, we'll go with outstanding, then exceeds expectations, acceptable, poor, dreadful, and troll.
Do you have any trolls on your list?
You know, I don't know if I have any trolls, maybe.
Okay. So I think we need to just go in order. I know when we did the Marvel
Makes
movies,
sense.
we just sort of like randomly like grabbed at
Too
them.
many to remember what order they all came out in.
That's a very good
This
point.
one's pretty straightforward.
It is. We know
Yeah.
the order. It's
Yeah.
Deathly Hallows Part 2, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Half-Blood Prince, Order of the Phoenix, Sorcerer's Stone.
Is there like a machete order you could watch Harry Potter in? That'd be interesting.
Would it not just be, I mean, how could it possibly not just be,
Like 1 through 8?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Would there be like a reason to start with Goblet, like Voldemort comes back, and then you go back to the beginning?
Oh,
You
interesting.
know, something like that. Or like, Snape from the beginning. Like you start with Deathly Hallows Part 1, then go back to the beginning.
And you're like, all this time.
All this time.
Always. Nice.
Wow. Who knows? Anyway, maybe that's a different video.
Okay.
The real order you should watch the Harry Potter movies in.
That would be very interesting. Okay, so starting with, and normally we call it Philosopher's Stone on this channel, but for the sake of the movies, it is Sorcerer's Stone. That is what it is called.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so
starting
Sorcerer's
with
Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone.
I'm
And
putting it. Whoomp. Where'd you land?
outstanding.
I put it in exceeds expectations.
Okay,
So good.
yes, so good.
Across
and,
the board.
and I honestly, I know that this is going to jump things real quick, but I can even, because of the way that I do this, I can even put Chamber of Secrets right there next to it.
Oh, you're gonna do Chamber.
I'm going to go ahead and just place Chamber just because for these two in particular, and this won't be the case with any other like possible duo, Deathly Hallows, Fantastic Beasts, or anything, I treat these two very much the same way. I think that they both kind of encapsulate the style and like visual magic of the Harry Potter series the way that I imagine it in the books.
Yeah.
Like I think
would agree with that.
it is the best transfer from story to visual on screen.
I agree with you. In fact, I'll go ahead and put Chamber as well. I'm putting Chamber at outstanding.
Oh,
Yeah,
was it Lockhart that like
It's of course it's pretty obvious.
It's
but
pretty-
no, I think it's the exact same thing. I think like when I was a kid reading the books and you went and you saw Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets and it felt like they had just transcribed exactly my brain onto the screen in terms of
Yes.
like how Hogwarts felt, how the students looked, how magic worked. Like it was all just like the style felt perfect. And like it's such a weird thing too, because when I was growing up, I would have told you Chamber of Secrets was like my least favorite of the books.
Okay.
But out of the movies, it's probably my favorite like Harry Potter movie.
It's and well, I mean that certainly makes sense
that's
based
what
on
we
how
got.
you ranked
Yeah.
it. But yeah, and that's the thing. So Christopher Columbus, and this is one of the weird issues with the Harry Potter movies as a whole, is that you have Christopher Columbus doing 1 and 2. Alfonso Cuarón does 3. I can never remember
Don't know.
director of 4, but you have 4 and then 5 on is David
Yates.
So David Yates takes over eventually, and you have him. I have it right here in front of me.
Having like a very consistent style going forward.
Mike Newell. And with that, though, I think throughout the series, you have odd decisions that are made by different directors that ultimately like take a stronghold because it's sort of like the last place we ever saw the character, and therefore we never revert.
Right, like so someone got to like Alfonso got to introduce Lupin, and so that's how Lupin will be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to just like recast Lupin entirely.
Right.
But he also changes the character of Flitwick entirely, and then the character of Flitwick just
Stays
remains
that way.
changed.
Yeah.
But I would say Flitwick in 1 and 2 is much more what I imagined Flitwick to be like.
Yeah, it seems like the way he ended up was just sort of an accident because they just recast the same actor, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Flitwick," and like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, it was Flitwick."
It was definitely not
Yeah.
just choir director number 1.
No.
Yes, we'll come back to that here in just a minute. But there are a couple of things that I think the Harry Potter movies struggle with all the way throughout, which is that I just don't think that the computer graphics at the time were quite at the level that they needed to be at to depict some of the creatures. So
like Fluffy
like Fluffy or like the troll in
Yeah.
1. I
hasn't
think
maybe aged super well.
exactly, and I think elements of Quidditch are
Yeah.
not exactly perfect. Like they very much look like they're leaning on the fact that you have these like swirling colors and shapes and fast moving things that you don't
Yeah.
really need to be able to look at
That
them.
said, I love the Quidditch in the first 2 movies.
Oh, I know.
Like
It's really
so fun. Like
Yeah.
it's just like I feel like they do they're like they obviously the first 2 movies are where the most amount of world building gets done.
Absolutely.
Because that's where, you're being introduced to the world. And I think they just do it so well. Like you're really there. Like you have time to just play a Quidditch match. Like the plot advances a little bit, but like you're just watching Quidditch for a minute there.
Right.
And that's very fun. Like most of the other movies don't just have time for like, this is the thing that happens in this world.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the scene, I always like the one where like Harry's on like the edge of the broom and like leans forward.
Yeah.
Like the way he actually like stands up on the broom, it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh.
it works out. I think
Yeah.
it works out. I'm trying in Sorcerer's Stone, they drop the potions layer to the
they
set
do.
of obstacles. And that's one where I just think you could have given Hermione just a little bit more to do.
Yeah, they move Hermione's like big room to the Devil's Snare
Basically.
room where she's the one who saves the day, as opposed to in the book where that's more of like a group effort.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess they skip the troll entirely, but they pretty much skip the troll entirely in the book too. Sometimes I even forget that it's an obstacle.
Yeah, I mean, they just walk right past it. And I guess because they needed to like have Quirrell have an obstacle, but they're like, oh, we got past it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Easy enough.
Otherwise, I think one of the big things, and this is like one of those complaints that like it's really, really, really hard to have because the circumstances that extend beyond the screen are what is what's affecting it, but it's the casting of Dumbledore as
Right.
Richard Harris,
Yeah.
who I think is just so great.
Ugh.
It's that very like soft-spoken, like that
But like very
Dumbledore-
powerful.
but very powerful. Like
Yeah.
that Dumbledore that you can just imagine sort of being able to like outwit everybody in the room, to like use his cleverness, use his words to like he's 10 steps ahead of everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And when you make the switch over to Michael Gambon, what you eventually see through the rest of the series is a Dumbledore that, in my mind, doesn't have that same sense of like purity to him.
Yeah,
as a
it's just like
character.
it's like a Dumbledore that sees the world as a very dark place, and it's like he's like doing his best to try and fix it, but it's like it's a losing battle, and everything's really serious and grave all of the time.
right. Yeah,
Okay,
you knew
okay.
you knew we were gonna hit that.
Oh, we have to.
But yeah,
We'll
so
get to that movie in a minute.
I've always felt like what really happened is you have Michael Gambon studying the character of Gandalf instead of Richard Harris's Dumbledore as the guideline for how to base this character.
Right.
You
I
know,
can see that.
because he just becomes more intense, less soft spoken, less just owning the room.
Yeah.
So anyway, also I feel like when people refer to the Harry Potter movies as Christmas movies, I really feel like it's especially because of Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
Like the scene where he gets the invisibility cloak.
That, yeah, it's like, does this make it a Christmas movie? But like, it's
Happy
like,
Christmas,
when you say
Roland.
Harry Potter are Christmas movies, you basically just mean the first two.
Right, yes.
Yeah. If not just the first one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some people watch all 8 every year. If you do, that sounds awesome.
I'm
Great
sure.
tradition.
In fact, do they? They do.
They do.
is the
That
question.
happens.
Okay. Moving on to Prisoner of Azkaban.
Moving on to Prisoner.
I think here's where
This is where it could get tricky.
we could get a little
To
saucy.
get just a little bit. I don't know. I'm going down to here.
Ready?
Yeah.
What'd you go
I'll
with?
put it acceptable.
Oh wow, generous.
Yeah. Oh, where did you throw it?
Dreadful.
Whoa.
Dreadful.
Wow.
I wasn't so cruel as to drop it into troll.
Okay.
But like, man, I know that this isn't the popular opinion when it comes to the Harry Potter movies, but I just stand by it. Like, there is a lot of like creative decision making about a world that is already very creative, and it's like the changes, I just don't see what we gain from them. So, like, I think you start with, on the night bus, you've got this, like, kind of odd, shrunken head, like,
boy,
who's
you're
sort
bringing
of the
up
voice of the night bus.
Boy, I completely forgot about the shrunken head on the night bus. The whole night bus scene bothers me. I mean, the guy playing Stan pretty much nails it with the chip fell over fall. Like, there are gems. There are gems in there.
Oh, yeah,
Aunt
absolutely.
Marge blowing up, good. I love Lupin a lot. I think his casting is really good. He does a good performance. I think even, like, you don't see a lot of Wormtail, but I think he gets a lot. He accomplishes a lot in a very little amount of time.
Absolutely.
When he's in there, I thought like the werewolf stuff is good, and like the way they execute the time turner stuff is good. But you're right, like as like a standalone movie, it's good, and like cinematically, it does a lot of things really well in terms of like visual storytelling and stuff. But in terms of like Harry Potter and coming out of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber, like the departure in so many directions is very like jarring.
Oh yeah, so you've got the shrunken head. You have Tom the barman at the Leaky Cauldron is like a very, very, very big character shift in a way that I just like is fine because I guess it makes it like more interesting. But like maybe interesting is even the right word. It makes it different.
Right.
But in a way that I'm just sort of like, I don't know that we needed it. Like, I don't know that was strictly necessary.
It just made it feel like the whole wizarding world was like a lot grungier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part
And
of
it's
it.
like, I understand that as the books go on, like the mood gets darker, but like that doesn't, like, it doesn't mean like that the whole world is just like this grungy held together with string place.
Exactly.
You know, like
Yeah.
it, like in Sorcerer's Stone, And in Chamber, everything's like very bright. And it's like, it looks like an established world. Like there's no reason for everything to be so like gritty.
Right, yeah. It almost feels like this thought where it's like, we see all these kids, none of whom look anything askew. But the idea would be that they would eventually become like the witch from Snow White. Like they're all in the process of growing into that witch.
Right.
And like kind of dark and like frizzled hair. Another big change they make in this one is they take all of the wizards out of robes.
Out of the robes into just the muggle clothes. The reason I don't think it works is because they make all these other changes to where like the wizard world is this like gritty place and it's like so different from the muggle world. But then they put them back in the muggle clothes.
They put them back in muggle clothes, and I would argue they put them in muggle clothes that seem almost fit for a math textbook. Like, I don't know if you remember this or not, but like when you were going to school and there was like, you know,
Like
the kids,
non-generic or
Yeah.
very generic.
very generic.
Yeah.
They were like, this is a solid pink hoodie.
Yeah. And it's like, I guess the point of the going to the muggle clothing is that it allows them to express like give the characters more personality based on the way they dress
Yeah.
and stuff. But it's like, by the time we're in the third movie, you already know the personality of the characters.
Not to mention, they all have very distinct personalities.
Yeah, that's true. It's like the actors are carrying that burden pretty well themselves. Like we're in movie 3. We don't need Neville's clothes to tell us he's like a bumbling kid who forgets stuff.
Right.
Like we don't need like Hermione dressing sharp to let us know that she's smart.
Sure.
You know, and even then, sometimes they're still in robes.
I don't think it's well executed. I'm not upset with the decision to depart from robes. I just don't think where they went with it is that good. I think the Frog Choir, I will say that I think it has grown on me because I actually think it's like a cool piece of like musical something that you can add to the story.
Sure.
And it's kind of fun. But like, that's like one of those elements where if you go to like Universal, like the Wizarding World and Universal, like they have the Frog Choir. And I'm like, you chose the thing that's like not like, it's like not even part of like the books.
Right.
It's like, I'm like, I get why it stands out and how it could be like a cool.
But like
musical
Wizard
part.
World of Universal is supposed to be going off the movies, you know.
I guess so.
I know. I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I wrote down notes because there's a few things in here. There's a scene
notes
where
as well.
Hermione is being thrown around by the Whomping Willow.
Yeah.
I think this scene is just flat out goofy. Like there's one scene where they like almost have this like very epic like jump rope moment for her where she like jumps over it and then like over the branch.
Yeah, the branch.
And then promptly gets hit. And while she's being hit, she's being flung like every which way through the air. And then ultimately there's this moment where you see her like grab hold onto Harry's shirt and it's like
Yeah.
cut to, and then it's like Harry being like, woo!
Oh, yeah. It's like, did you guys film that for like the 3D version or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's like the amount of, it's like she's being flung through the air and it's almost as if the branch stopped right here. Time to grab, and then keeps going.
Right. It's a little like slapstick.
It's a little
In the middle
slapstick,
of it.
a little bit goofy.
Also, I know there are varying opinions on this, but the final frame of the movie when Harry is like screenshot with the firebolt like warp face.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like. I understand the cinematic part of it, that it's supposed to be that Harry is separated by everyone and it's supposed to look like the Dementors are sucking on him, but this time it's like joy instead of sadness, that they're like sucking your soul. Like I get visually what they're going for and I think it looks stupid.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate the attempt. I think it looks stupid.
It's just not well executed.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give my rant and then I'll stop.
Go for it.
We don't see the stag with like the big Expecto Patronum.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh yeah.
Where's the stag? Like,
Right.
and this is again one of those where it's like maybe the CG for having like a really cool blue and white, you know, creature come bursting out of his wand and canter through the area and like sort of use its
I
horns.
feel like it's possible. I know I don't like. Yeah, they decided Patronuses weren't gonna like attack the Dementors. They were just gonna be like in the shape of an animal and just like go boom,
boom,
boom. Like not as cool.
Nope.
Have them attack.
And then finally for me is the scene when Lupin steps outside and like the moon is like literally what
like
looks
a spotlight.
like a spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes around the corner and it's like, you forgot about me, didn't you? The moon. And he's like, and then like a light like shines on his face. It's just like, I'm not with you. I'm not with you. So dreadful. and I would even say barely made the cut.
Wow.
Bim is good. The character of Bim.
Oh, yeah, character of Ben who just drops it out of nowhere to deliver these super dark lines about the future.
It's like, whoa, Bim.
Trying to
Whoa.
hold smoke with your bare hands. Oh.
Isn't it though?
Okay. Well then,
Goblet of Fire, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, hang on
Yeah.
a second. Okay, all right. Let's see. I would put it at here.
Where'd you put it?
Acceptable.
Wow, so I'm surprised. I put it down at Dreadful, so we swapped on these two.
We have swapped on these
My
two.
goodness. This one to me, I think my ranking for this one, it falls so low because I think Goblet for me, it had like the opposite effect that Chamber of Secrets did. Where like, for me, Chamber of Secrets was like not my favorite book out of them. And so like my expectation bar was low, and so the movie then just soars past it.
Okay.
But like Deathly Hallows is my favorite Harry Potter book. But for a long, that was the last one to come out. So for the majority of time when people would ask me, what's your favorite one? It was Goblet of Fire.
Okay.
Like, I loved Goblet of Fire. I would reread it all the time.
I agree with that. Yep.
And I love the games. I love the Quidditch World Cup. I love the tasks. Like, I think all that stuff is so much fun. And then the movie just so under-delivered. Like, my bar for it was so high with the book that this movie just undelivered so much. And I know so much of this is just based on comparing to the books, but that's, you know what? It affects my movie-going experience.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot about Goblet where what you see is this massive book that like maybe it could have been like 2 movies, but it just doesn't logically, like there wouldn't be like a good ending point for like the middle of it to be like,
maybe not.
and that's the Yule Ball.
Yep.
See you next year.
Time for the for the second task.
Right. So the thing, so you have the Quidditch World Cup, I think, right out of the gate.
No, you don't.
Good point.
No, you don't.
So you missed the Quidditch
There's
World Cup.
no Quidditch World Cup out of the gate.
Before that, let me just say, the moment that really gets me is when Robert Pattinson, I could have just said Cedric Diggory, but when he comes like Mary Poppinsing into the scene.
Yeah,
it's
where all
like,
the adults are just like, we've done portkeys before, and the rest of them all like fall on their faces. It's like, I see visually what you're going for. Cedric is like mature and cool and knows how to do things.
I think it still would have been fine to have, because it's like a teleporting thing. So like the idea that they're like coming out of this like wind tunnel of transportation where, I don't know, it's very goofy. And I just think you could have just had it so like, it's like, whew, boom, and have everybody land on the ground and like Cedric's just standing up with the adults. And it's like, oh, I see, he's better at it.
Right.
Like, that would have been fine.
That would have been fine. It would have gotten the point across still.
I'm not entirely sure he really needed to jump out of a tree either.
Oh, at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was that. Then they skip the Quidditch World Cup entirely. You don't get to see any playing, which is a bummer because, like I said, like in the first movie, when you're just watching it, it's just fun. It's fun to see Quidditch.
Yep.
And like, if you've read the book a bunch, and everyone had, like, you're excited to see Crumb and like see like Duronsky Fane, how he's, that would have been a good way to establish his character ahead of time.
Oh, and the Veelas and the Leprechauns.
Oh, they just they have the Leprechauns, I guess.
I know,
sort of, but they abandon the Veelas altogether, which means they abandon that plot line for Fleur, which like takes away some of her like specialness a little bit.
Yep.
Which is a bummer because that is how they establish in the books the other 2 champions before you meet them. Like, you get to see Crumb play and you get to see the effect the Veelas have on the other people. And then it's like, oh, now I know a little bit, like, oh, when you find out that Fleur is half Veela, you're like, oh, okay, she's like extra, like a little extra magic on her.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like, oh, and then Crumb, he's like a spectacular, super young wizard. We've already seen him do stuff.
Right.
Like, they feel like threats.
Yep.
They're not just like people who show up in red and blue.
And yeah. And we just don't have... Yes, we don't have Ludo. We don't have Winky.
Yeah, there's no Winky.
Both those storylines are
Ludo
abandoned.
Bagman is gone. That's a bummer. We don't have any Agatha Timms, Eel Farm.
Oh, I know, we needed that.
The chaos ensuing, like when the Death Eaters do like their little attack or whatever.
Right.
To me, in the movie, it feels way blown. It feels like a freaking terrorist attack just happened.
Yeah.
Like they just were attacking everyone and there's fires everywhere. And it's like in the books, they're absolutely being very malicious and mean.
Oh, yes.
But it doesn't seem like they're attacking literally everyone.
Yeah, it's not like the middle of like a war zone. It's more just because I even think in the books, there's a little bit of this element that we've seen out in the real world, which is the like slight over enthusiastic nature of post sporting event enthusiasm.
Right.
You know, like where it's like you have these people who go out and they like knock over, you know, like the field goal post in the stadium, or they go and like light a couch on fire or something.
Right.
You know, and you're like, oh man, like, you know, I know you're excited, but maybe don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly obviously extremely terrible what they're doing and everything, but it looks like the war started. You know,
Yes.
It looks like there was a bomb that went off, and then there's Harry just right there at the middle, just wakes up. I don't know.
Right. Well, because I think part of this here too is that later they really need to discredit Harry. They really need to be under this assumption that he is like blowing this stuff out of proportion. And at this point in time, it's like what happened to the Quidditch World Cup. It's like based on what we saw in the movie was a huge problem. To be ignoring the fact that like something else big later happened. And be like,
right.
Like that doesn't compete. That doesn't compute. Like
right.
I think what the ministry needs to be seeing is like it was over enthusiastic fans. It was someone who played a bad prank to cast a dark mark, like whatever. It's like no, you can't have like a war zone.
Yeah,
and then the dark mark.
It looks like there was a massacre and they still had no idea anything was coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving on from the Quidditch World Cup, I think one of the things that I really didn't like was the like style guide for Mad-Eye Moody, who really has
the belt strap for the eye.
He's sort of got like a metal leg. It's very steampunk almost.
Yeah, it is very steampunk.
And that's not really how I imagined Moody.
Nope. I imagine like a kind of like super big. Kind of like creep, like would creep you out if you saw him.
Sure.
Kind of eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not really getting that in like Moody's character. Look, because Moody's classes are a blast in the book. Like the fact that they're like really learning some stuff.
The other thing is just like the dragon, or like the tasks themselves. Like in the book, it was always a bummer to me that you didn't get to see like Cedric and Crumb and Fleur do the dragon tasks. So I felt like that would have been another like, here's just fun. Here's like a highlight reel of what they did.
Sure.
And where you get to see like how good the other wizards are. And then you get Harry. And like, understandably, like the dragon breaks free in the movie and they have like this big chase scene. Like, that's exciting because in the book, he does just sort of like slowly lull the dragon away and then get the egg. And it's just like, that might not have been exciting to watch. So I get why they did that.
Sure.
The lake, I think they did okay there. That was fine. But the maze is unacceptable. The maze and its dumb head. Like, it's so fun in the book seeing Harry. Like, it's like his time to shine. This is his zone. He's like breaking enchantments and he's getting through all the things. He's doing the riddles and the Sphinx and the golden mist and the acromantulas. And she's like, nah, how about just fog? Fog and spooky hedges.
Right.
It's so like, it's like they just take away from world building in order to like hurry through the story. So that's fun. I don't like it.
And I think we really do get the most Dumbledore being this like not Dumbledore-esque character.
Yeah.
He just really gets like angry. And we always talk about like the like did you put your name in the goblet of fire scene where he just like goes over the top, but like even like right before the maze there's this scene where he like is calling everybody like over to like tell them the rules and he's like being like really he's like now quickly.
Yeah, the movies feel like there's like no pomp and circumstance to anything.
Right.
It's like just sort of like, oh, we're doing a task this morning. Okay, I guess throw up a tent, get some rooms ready. How are we going to choose the order? Yeah, put them in a bag, draw them in a bag. Okay, good. It feels like they're just it feels like so rushed. Like they're just like figuring out all at the last second. I don't know.
There is a weird scene with Barty Crouch where he's like handing out the dragons and he's just like kind of creepy. He's like I think, I don't know, Fleur pulls hers out and he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it's like, what you doing, man? Not sure you should be allowed around here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's supposed to be like the starting of him like losing his wits a little bit, but it's I don't know. Barty Crouch Jr. is supposed to be like so, or not Jr., but Barty Crouch, who's just supposed to be so straight laced. He's just very like,
yeah. Guys, we need to interrupt real quick to give a huge thank you to today's other sponsor, HelloFresh. All right, you guys, as a parent of 3 kiddos who are always on the move, like always, calories. Whatever we can do to have a healthy meal with the least amount of stress is always priority number one. And HelloFresh makes this so easy because you can cut out stressful meal planning and grocery store clips and just enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less. The recipes are easy to follow and quick to make with pictures and steps to guide you along the way. And seriously, Beth and I love using HelloFresh. As parents, it just works out in so many different ways. For one, they're healthy meals with real ingredients, but also everything comes pre-portioned and makes it like really easy to have my son Luke help out if he wants to. Like, oh yeah, just dump this packet in. No problem. Also, pro tip, HelloFresh is not just for meals. They also have like a whole marketplace for different add-ons. Whether it's a little something extra for breakfast or for dessert, or my personal favorite, the seasonal snacks, I can go ahead and recommend to you the Pillsbury pumpkin cookie dough. You won't regret it. All that and right to your door with contact-free delivery, and it's 30% cheaper than going to a grocery store. And with the holiday deal they're running now, it's even less. So head on over right now to HelloFresh.com/SCB14 and use promo code SCB14 to get, yeah, you guessed it, 14 free meals plus 3 gifts. One more time, that is HelloFresh.com/SCB14, promo code SCB14 to get 14 free meals plus 3 gifts. HelloFresh.com/SCB14, promo code SCB14, link is in the description down below. And now back to the ranking.
All right, moving on to Order of the Phoenix.
Oh goodness.
Let's see here. Where would I place Order?
What do you got?
Boom.
I put it in acceptable.
Me too!
Okay, all right. We're right at the same page on this one.
Right at the same page.
Yes.
Okay, so Order of the Phoenix, I feel like very, 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 very notably has Umbridge.
Yeah.
I think Umbridge is pretty well done, honestly.
This is like a pro. It's like, yeah, she is very well done. The actress nails it. And the problem is that makes you really hate her.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, just like so angry.
I know. So it's like when you think about what you love about Order of the Phoenix, it's how like pissed it made you.
Like, oh.
Like, you know what it did? It made me real mad. I love it.
Yeah.
It made me real mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else happens in Order of the Phoenix?
Oh man. Okay, so this is something that always, boy oh boy, I absolutely hate the scene where Harry sees the Thestral for the first time. And he's like, what is this? And Hermione looks at him just like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, Harry. There's never anything there. He's like as if Harry is like dying in the moment. It's just this like utter grim, like you don't have any reason to be like really concerned or afraid in this moment. It's like there's a cool magical thing happening that like you probably know the answer to. You know, and like Harry's refusal to elaborate on it, it's just, and I know that's such a tiny thing, but the way Hermione is so afraid for, I don't know, Harry's life at like every moment just feels incorrect.
I wrote this down and I do feel bad about it because it's like whenever we talk about these things, like it's really not my objective to ever like single out a character and be like, you did a bad job.
No,
but like
not at all.
I do think like one of the things that I have noticed as I was like perusing each of the movies and writing my notes for this is that I do think Emma Watson in particular, it's like when she's like an 11 and 12-year-old, I think that she's just young and adorable enough that like all like her various little like, you know, like it's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is overacting, but like in a way that I actually do see as Hermione, the character who I do think is like precocious and a little like
know-it-all-y and
exactly.
Yeah.
But it seems like as Emma Watson is sort of entering these like middle chunk of years, especially because there's a moment in like Prisoner, I think on the train, like where Harry's like upset about something and I don't know, she has a comment. I think there's another one in Goblet where she's like, Sirius will want to know about that. And it's like, again, it's like very like, it's like, I feel like what's happening is Emma Watson in real life, I think is actually very similar to the character of Hermione Granger and takes things very seriously. So I think as she was given cues, she almost like maybe played the cue a little bit like too hard. And so I think a lot of Hermione's moments end up feeling like a little bit overacted to me.
Okay.
And I promise I'm really like, I actually really do love Emma Watson. Like I'm not trying to dog on Hermione or her, but I do think there are a lot of those moments where there's a little bit of an issue. And in general, as you sort of like draw those brushstrokes beyond just her character, I don't think very many of these child actors were very good at reacting to like acting in the moment to things that would not be included until added in post.
Oh, like the Thestral's not there.
The Thestral's not there.
Yeah.
And like I think that in this you've got like a lot of the Weasley Wizard Wheezes where I think like Fred and George are trying to like, you know, react to like a kid's jaw like getting like all blooped out or something, but like the kid's jaw in real life really wasn't.
Right.
And so I kind of feel like they're like the way like they don't know what it's going to look like in the finished product.
Right.
They're not graphic designers. They're probably not haven't even been around this technology for so long to have done it enough times to even see
Sure.
the practical acting moment and then the final. There's a moment in Prisoner too where they like grab Harry by the invisible armpits.
Oh yeah. Like before they give him the map.
Yeah, and it's like it's another one of these moments where it's like very like it's like it's not again, it's not their fault. It's not their fault, but like it's hard to act in accordance with something that is actually not there.
Yeah.
And I do feel like you can tell on screen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe part of the problem was like, so like I think at some point in time someone said, and maybe this isn't true, but like Davi was almost like a pipe with like 2 tennis balls stuck to the end of it or something like that.
Oh, right.
Like the
Like
model.
like what Daniel was acting with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it could be the case that like for certain gags, they just weren't so important that they like built a rig like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you end up with is literally just like, hey, look at my face right now and pretend like my jaw just like,
Right.
you know, melted off.
Yeah.
It's like,
Whoa.
well, howdy. I don't know. I don't even feel like I'm talking about order now. I just feel like I'm talking about the movies at large.
At large.
But what I would say is that I think the further into the movies we get, the more magic the students have available, so the more they have to find ways to visually show us on screen how the magic is working, and I don't think it always works. I think there's a scene where like Nigel is being held in the air in the DA, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, and like even that is
Yeah.
feels
The way
a little-
like a lot of stuff that have to do with the wands, you're right, where it's like, we don't know how this is gonna look, so just hold your wand. And it's like, I don't even know. I feel like you'd hold your wand more like out, not like this or something. Just like little touches.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very much like this. I think there's a moment where Ginny blows up like the thing, and everybody like looks at her, and it's like one of those moments where you're supposed to establish that she's like a little bit more powerful than we realized.
Mhm.
But like she doesn't even have like this big incantation. I think there's one with Luna in the Ministry where it's the same thing, and she like blasts someone backwards, and it's sort of like, yeah.
I do like the Dumbledore Voldemort fight at
Yes.
the end. I thought that is really well done. Very minor, but I feel like kind of big change is that like Bellatrix cast Avada Kedavra at Sirius instead of just knocking him through the veil.
Yep.
It's like a weirdly big difference because all that happens when Sirius falls through the veil in the movie is that his body is unrecoverable, not that it kills him.
Yes, true.
And like, so in the movie, he is killed by the spell and then falls through the veil. Whereas in the book, he is hit by like stupefy or something and then is killed by falling through the veil.
Well, like falling back through.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's even like that hope that Harry might have left that like Sirius
Right.
could still be alive because like we know that Avada Kedavra kills you. We don't know what going through
Yeah,
the
we don't
veil
know what the veil
does.
is. It's very mysterious.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I like that note. I always bring this up, but I like the Nice One James edition by
Ooh,
Sirius.
that is very nice. That's a good.
Nice One James.
Right.
And-
Communicates a lot in a very little.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finally, I actually really love the scene where Voldemort takes over Harry's body after like and he's like on the ground and
Mhm.
like Dumbledore's kind of like watching, and you're sort of seeing like Daniel Radcliffe like, you know, like really like fight him off, and he ultimately does fight him off.
Right.
There's like this montage of events where like first Voldemort shows him like all these negative things, like, you know, Harry seeing himself in the Mirror of Erised, or seeing Voldemort in the Mirror of Erised. A bunch of negative things, and then Harry counters it by having all these like positive little flashes of memories. And I think that's always felt really like I get chills every time I watch that.
Oh,
that
cool.
scene. Yeah,
Good.
that's a good one.
All right.
So, Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix. There we go.
It's
Shall
a-
we move on?
Yeah, we should move on.
All right.
All right.
How we doing?
Half-Blood.
Boom.
Boom. Where'd you put it?
I put it exceeds expectations.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
I like it. I like Half-Blood a lot. I feel like this is where all the, like, for one, they focus in a lot more on just like the personal relationships between the characters. Like it feels a lot more like character driven.
Yes.
Rather than like big plot. Not that big plot stuff doesn't happen, because obviously Dumbledore dies.
Right.
And that's like huge.
Right. Yep. That's a big one.
But like a lot of the movie is just based on like how the characters are like doing and the relationships they have with each other. And there's the Felix Felicis scene, which is just like someone finally let Daniel Radcliffe just be funny for like 10 minutes. And it was just like, please do more of this. He's like has such good comedy chops.
He totally does. He totally, and you can see it. It's just like he feels to me less awkward again as like a child actor who like I think like I think Daniel Radcliffe does a pretty good job, but this scene in particular, I always feel like he doesn't look like he's like struggling.
Yeah,
like he's like really like
really having fun with it.
Yeah, so I enjoy that. I enjoy the scene with Slughorn in the hut, which I guess is still like the continuation of that, but that's a good
I like Slughorn's whole character too. I think he's well cast. He does his good job. I do not like Harry and Ginny's kiss. It really bothers me. It's like
I just don't think they nailed
it. Just looks like he's about to kiss his cousin or something.
Oh no!
Just like it's like it's supposed to be this huge occasion, like they just won the Quidditch match, and it's like boom, it's like explosive happiness. And it just looks so awkward. Just
they don't exactly give. I think that this is part of the problem is that at this point you're really getting to like the darker and darker and darker tones. That is the overall like style. So like in order to have that fit with the cave scene, to have that fit with Dumbledore's death, to have it fit with like a lot of the other darker learning about Horcruxes, going back to these past memories things, like the whole vibe of the movie has to be that way. But like, yeah, Harry winning or like
no, this is why it shouldn't be that way.
No, I know.
Okay.
I mean, like I think this is the area where it's like you have to give Ginny this like huge zest for life. Like
yes.
Very energetic,
I agree.
Very happy, very colorful.
Right. If everything else is dark and terrible, then Harry and Ginny should still be like bright and wonderful.
Yes.
And like explosive and fun. And it's just like this super awkward kiss. And I just wish they'd let them like really like have this big moment.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that whole area. I think we also have the shoelace tying scene in this one.
That's awkward.
Yeah, there's a couple of like really just like odd moments.
They cut the Gaunt stuff out as well. They cut Hepzibah out.
I would have liked those scenes because I do think they're very important, and it makes it very difficult.
They established the Horcruxes.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult like to do our job because we don't have those visual cues.
And it's very frustrating when you want to talk about Hepzibah Smith and she's not in the movie.
Right. It's like, well, let's use that chapter art again.
Mm-hmm.
That's a complaint very individual to us.
Very specific.
The only other thing I would say is I think the cave scene is pretty cool. I think a lot of that works out. I think like Dumbledore doing like the Inferno. That's a pretty dang epic moment.
Yeah.
And that is one of those where I will say I do have a harder time imagining that like Richard Harris version of Dumbledore in my mind.
Oh, right.
I'm like, if it had been him the whole time, what would they have done?
Right.
In this moment? Because I do think that's where like Michael Gambon and being like super intense and heavy and like and being this like fierce.
Well,
like,
same thing as in
warrior.
Order. Like how would that fight have looked?
True.
Yeah. Although, like that, it would have been an interesting like acting challenge because that is always the scene in particular where Harry's like, for the first time he understood why Dumbledore was the only one he ever feared or whatever. Like it's like this like almost character change in Dumbledore when he's like, okay, you made me mad. Let's go.
It's true, but he's still like he comes in and he's still like referring to him as like Tom.
Yeah.
You know, like he's still
he's
still like he's like messing with him like in his calmness.
Right, he's playing like two fights. He's like, yes, I am magically going to fight you, but also I'm going to mentally mess with you a lot.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna make it seem like this is no big.
Yeah, exactly. Casual.
Right. So that I would hand that to Dumbledore's death, like the slow motion scene. I think was pretty good.
It's good. I like the wands up. That's good.
The wands up is really good.
Yep.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
Deathly Hallows Part 1. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
What you got?
Acceptable.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this is just like through no fault of its own. It's just most of the exciting stuff in Deathly Hallows happens in the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I do say, the one thing I absolutely love is the Tale of the Three Brothers. Like the way that
the animation
is so cool.
top dollar.
Like whoever
Love it.
I think they gave creative freedom to someone who they were like, yeah, he, like just trust him. He knows what he's doing. Like,
Do it.
like I'm just so convinced that whoever did that, it was sort of like they had like the vision for it.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Did it?
Um,
Crushed it. It's very good.
I think it's beautiful, and we use that footage a lot.
Yep.
That's another one that comes up as important a whole bunch of times. Otherwise, yeah, like what do we have in here? We have Bill and Fleur's wedding,
Which Harry is not disguised in, which is weird to me because it's like he's supposed to be the most wanted wizard or whatever. He's
right?
supposed to be in hiding, and he didn't do that, which I don't know. Maybe visually that's supposed to let you know that everyone else here is really, really trustworthy, but
I mean, that's certainly an explanation.
Yeah.
I guess there's that. I also, I mean, I've talked about this. If you watch this channel a lot, you already know this about me, but I'm not a huge fan of the ministry scene.
yeah, the polyjuice potion. But you're not a fan of that in the books either.
True. So I was facing an uphill battle
Either way.
every single way. Yeah, so I think that's like still one that I struggle with. I never quite figured out why it was so important that for them to dub the voices of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Like, were they worried that like we weren't be able to like keep up with like which one of them transferred into who?
Like when they do it in Chamber, what do?
They do the same thing in Chamber. They dub them in Chamber as well.
Okay.
And they do this with Polyjuice Potion in the movies, but I honestly I just don't know why.
In the books, it just changes your voice.
It just changes your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I always feel like that feels like it'd be like much more of a tell faster.
yeah, like in real life.
Yeah.
Like your voice is completely different today. Something's weird.
It's like Ditto. Like doesn't Ditto like have its eyes stay the same when it transfers into like different creatures?
That you mean in Pokemon?
I'm talking about Pokemon.
Yeah, okay. The weird thing about that is that it's just there's one episode of Pokemon in season 1 where the trainer who has the Ditto is having an issue where her Ditto, when it transforms, keeps the eyes and the dopey smile. But most Dittos don't.
Interesting.
But that one thing has like really caught on 20 years later. So
okay.
yeah.
Random. Okay. Because I think in Detective Pikachu they did it.
Oh, do they?
I think they do.
Okay.
Because like it's really weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, so definitely not the point that, but it's just, it's like one of those where it's kind of like, okay. I do think that the entire Dobby death scene is good.
Yeah.
I think it's very well done. I think that is Daniel Radcliffe doing some really quality, like he looks like he just lost a best friend in that moment. Like he looks upset.
Yeah.
So I would say that is super, super solid. It's so funny, yeah, because Deathly Hallows, it feels the first part feels so limited.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're doing.
They get the locket, they try and destroy it. Eventually they do.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the big thing. But then we kick off with Deathly Hallows Parts 2, which I'm gonna go ahead. Boom. I put it exceeds expectations.
That's what I was putting it as well.
Well. Basically it's just like the second half of the first one, and I think just more fun stuff happens.
Deathly Hallows is just fun.
Just more entertaining.
Yep.
So they break out of Gringotts. That's really fun. You get to see Helena Bonham Carter play Hermione playing Bellatrix, which is a fun acting challenge.
Yep.
Which she does a good job of. The Escape from Gringotts, I think, is really good.
It is.
And then the Battle of Hogwarts is just cool. Like when they do the scene where they're just like kind of going through the castle and all the fights are happening everywhere, it's like, this is cool.
There's a lot of neat stuff. Yeah, like I think the like McGonagall getting like the defenses up. Them
getting the castle ready is so fun.
It's very neat.
Yeah, the suits of armor. You're like, oh yeah, it's exactly what it would look like. Yeah, cool.
Right. You've got the scene in the forest. You've got King's Cross.
Yeah. You even have the bridge to Hogwarts or whatever, not in the books, just like a movie edition, and the Seamus always blowing stuff up in his face, not in the books, just the movie thing. But they did a cool thing where you got a payoff on both of those things in the movie.
You do, yeah. And I think that was a good way to use a piece of movie lore that they had been establishing basically since Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
That like there's this like Seamus like poof.
Yeah.
You know, so that was good. That was good. Neville takes out like half the army.
Yeah, Neville's got a high kill count for the war.
He does.
For sure. Neville's killing of Nagini, really great.
What I think is both amazing and not good at the same time is Neville's little, like, when he, like, stands up in front of everybody and basically he just becomes, like, the leader.
Yeah.
This is when I think Harry's dead. He, like, walks out and Neville's, like, fake limp, the acting of the limp that Neville has, I think is overdone.
Oh.
It's very, like... It's like I know you've been in battle, but, like, you know, it's okay. Like,
Gotcha.
But otherwise, I think the Neville moment right there is really good. It's another one that, like, gives me chills.
Yeah.
Like, where he's, you know.
Right. I love Harry going into the forest. I like the way they did the Prince's Tale, like kind of flashing through Snape's life.
Yeah.
That's really good. And the pensive.
Yep.
Yep. All really good. I like King's Cross. Also fun. Well,
Yep.
not fun, just serious, but
Yeah, you miss out on some things with King's Cross where, like, you don't hear a lot about, like, the Grindelwald
yeah.
bits.
But and less important in the movies than it is in the books.
Sure.
And then I will say one of my favorite parts in the books is like when Harry and Voldemort are like circling each other in the Great Hall, and Harry is just like dropping bomb after bomb of like realization of how he's going to win this final thing and how Voldemort has just totally backed himself into a corner and doesn't even realize it. And then like the moment comes and everyone's watching and it's like boom and he wins and it's like like they all like come and rush Harry and it's this big moment of celebration. And in the movie, like they have like the wands meeting. It's just like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as exciting like in the final moment. And like no one's there watching, they're just by themselves.
Right.
Off. And there's like this weird scene where Voldemort's just like slapping Harry in the face and stuff. Like up in the clock tower. He's just like physically hitting him.
It's a odd scene.
Yeah.
It's like let's finish this, Tom. And he just sort of like, no.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know. So I wish it was in the Great Hall and I wish everyone was watching. I do love Molly killing Bellatrix. That was really fun.
It's really good.
As ever.
Really
Everyone's favorite scene. I think that was our like favorite scene in our top 10 moments.
It's so good.
It's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then I think the other big one you've got is that at the end of this one, Harry snaps the wand.
Yeah.
Instead of in the book.
I do like that.
Yeah. In the book, Harry's like, I'll just put it back from where it came from, like in your grave.
Yeah.
And
if I die without ever being defeated, and it's like, you got a long life left, dude. And you're trying to become an Auror where you're going to be in a lot of squabbles.
Right. It's like you are putting a lot on your reputation to never lose a duel.
Yeah. You know how finicky this thing is. You snatched a different wand from Draco. Okay? So, if you don't think anyone's going to take your wand out of your hand again.
Right. Yeah. Even your own children.
Yeah.
By accident, Ginny.
Ha! Elder Wand!
Mine! Moving on to Fantastic
Moving on.
Beasts. Yep.
Boom. I put it in outstanding.
I did too.
Yeah! Fantastic Beasts. First movie, outstanding. This is always my fun answer. People are like, what's your favorite Harry Potter movie? And I'm like, Fantastic Beasts, and where to find them.
And they're like, wait.
They're like, wait, no, I didn't think about that. I just meant the first 8. And you're like, yeah, you did think about that. But I think Fantastic Beasts had a lot going for it in terms of it's not based on anything. So they could just make stuff up.
True.
They could just, you don't have to compare it to a book because there's nothing to compare it to. All you have is just Newt. And Newt is being played by Eddie Redmayne. So you're not dealing with child actors. You're dealing with like one of the best actors on the entire planet. And he's crushing it as Newt Scamander.
He's really
And then he has like the on-screen chemistry between Newt and Tina is amazing. I love it. They're so good together. Eddie and Catherine Watterson. Like you're in New York City, you have fully grown wizards. So everyone can just do tons of magic really well. And they do it a lot. And that's really fun. Because like you go through Sorcerer's Stone, no one, like Harry doesn't cast a spell. Harry, the main character of Harry Potter, doesn't cast a spell in the first movie, okay?
You're a wizard, Harry. Are you sure?
Are you sure? Because he doesn't cast a spell. Meanwhile, Newt Scamander casts about 10 spells in the first 5 minutes. He's just like, oh, no you don't. He's just like magicking all over the place. Super fun. The Beasts, all really creative, all really fun. Jacob is he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He does a great job.
Super
as
good
being
comic
the Muggle.
relief.
Yeah, very good comic relief. They have other weird powers that fit in the wizarding world, like with Queenie. It's like she can Legilimen's on a power we haven't seen before. It's like, that's an established power, but not in this way. So it fits, but it's new
Right.
when it's taking place in the past.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's just a whole lot of stuff going on that is very fun, very exciting. You're just getting to see like fully trained wizards at work.
Yeah.
And it's very imaginative. And you're not like looking at it being like, but that's not how it went this way.
Exactly.
So I think all that works. But the weird thing about it is bringing us to Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, that is the weird thing. It's like they set up this amazing thing, and then we go to Crimes of Grindelwald. And I'm putting it at Dreadful. You put it at Troll. It looks like you went all the way down.
All the way down.
Yeah.
Something had to go there.
Something had to. I put it behind Goblet of Fire right there. So
There you go.
Maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I that's the thing. Like I think it is worse than the worst Harry Potter movie. Is probably the way that I would say it. But like Crimes of Grindelwald. Here's my theory: is I think that Crimes of Grindelwald ultimately will not upset people in the future because the series will be complete, and instead of having to sit there and dwell on like what the heck did I just watch, you'll just watch the next movie.
Right, and it all makes sense. And it's like, I even wrote that down in my notes ahead of time. Like, it's possible people will end up loving this because it set up a bunch of stuff you didn't see coming, and like retroactively you'd be like, it's so cool how they did all these things.
Right.
But it's like, if that's the case, then it's reliant on stuff that hasn't come out yet.
Yes.
Which, like, it's okay. It's hard for stuff to be reliant on its sequels. It's okay if it's reliant upon the world building you did in the past.
I think that's fair, yeah. Because
Yeah.
like I sometimes I get very frustrated when people are like, oh, well, the movie doesn't stand on its own, especially when we're talking about like Marvel or Harry Potter or any of these series where like the established world outside of any given movie is just so important to it, and chances are if you're watching it, you know the rest of the world. But I do think with Crimes of Grindelwald, it's got these weird, wacky, all over the place plots that don't line up very well. There's
Just
a whole
lots
bunch
of
of
yeah.
odd, you got this body swap scene at the beginning of Crimes of Grindelwald that it took you and I
A full day.
a full day, a whiteboard, and like a pause button to like literally go through frame by frame and figure out who is who and who is who where
And when.
when, and then on top of that, why?
Yeah.
Like
to what end?
because we
like-
all wanted more Aventhy, like.
Yeah, it was hard to get, and then even that, it's like even when you're watching the movie, it's like it feels like you needed to do a certain amount of homework beforehand,
Which
to
we
like
had
understand,
done.
which we had done, thankfully.
Right. Yeah.
like we understood everything mostly as it was happening.
Yeah.
A few things here and there, but I don't think your casual Harry Potter fan is neck deep in Harry Potter lore on a day-to-day basis for the second movie in a spin-off series.
Yeah, we knew because it is literally our job.
Right.
So it's not the type of thing that I necessarily would have expected any other person to know. I mean, part of what made it so helpful for us is that in one of the trailers, there's the wall that shows you like all of the family tree. And
Yeah.
we had like super zoomed, enhanced, searched.
Right.
We had like built out that exact family tree, trying to like make predictions about what was going to happen in the movie based on that tree.
Yeah.
And so like, we knew all these like random kind of offside characters that nobody's ever heard of before, and we were able to piece the pieces together.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, I mean, like Queenie's story doesn't really make sense. Tina's story is kind of funky. I still think that Newt and Tina are great together. You have that salamanders moment in like the archives in the French ministry.
There's just a lot of unanswered questions. So there's like a little asterisk on it. Like maybe all this stuff is going to pay off in a really cool, fun way.
Right.
And if it does, great. I hope it does. Like I am like optimistic about it, and like I want it to be good, of course.
I know. Well,
But-
and I think we have some theories that I feel very, very, very confident about. Like if the
we've made
theories
so
end up-
many stabs at it. Yeah.
I know, but like our most recent consensus, I think we were able to make multiple videos off of it, and all of those videos, I think, fit. And it all has to do with the baby swap scene, which is
And-
very confusing.
Which
but
it all is based on Grindelwald is taking actions based on not knowing about the baby swap.
right.
And that's the difference maker.
There's that, and the only reason that Credence is able to talk to Nagini, who is a character who's only important because what she's actually revealing to us is the fact that Credence is a parcel tongue.
Parcel tongue, which means he's a gaunt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're very well versed in this movie.
There's no doubt. We might have analyzed it more than any other.
It's true. It's true. We've spent way more time with it. So I'm very excited for Secrets of Dumbledore. I'm very hopeful that it will like fill in the rest of these gaps. And hopefully what it'll mean is that like, even if this movie as a standalone isn't very good, the series as a whole could be very fun.
Right. Maybe the series shall be more than the sum of its parts.
Exactly.
Yes.
The other real curious thing with Secrets is that, for one, it's not that far away. So I feel like a trailer has to be coming soon.
Very soon.
The other thing, though, is Crimes did suffer not just with critics, but also at the box office. So there is some question as to whether or not they just end the story with 3
instead of going 5.
Instead of going to 5. Because if we're only at 3, the third installment of 5, and the second one was bad, the third one's got to make up a lot of ground to give people hope for 2 more.
Right. So it's got to be good. A lot of pressure on it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very curious to know how our rankings compared to your rankings. I'd be curious which of our rankings in particular was the furthest from something that you ranked. I know for me that Prisoner is one of these movies that people think very highly of. And so I'm very curious if I...
Yeah, people have so many opinions about the Harry Potter movie. So I hope you will go fill out the tier list on your own. Share it with us on Twitter. I'm very curious to see how other people have ranked them themselves.
There you go. Yep. Otherwise, be sure to leave us all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And until next time, bye.